So let's go ahead and break down the table. Now that we have that all built out, we know how it looks, we can play around with some of these different elements in here and just kind of see what affects what. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to code view here just so we can focus just on the code for right now, and we can zoom in a little bit. So we've got our table which opens up and becomes the hamburger bun of my code here. I'm just going to separate it a little bit just so you can see it better. So we open with a table tag and we close with a table tag there. Now, just like some of the other things we just looked at, like with video and audio, you can add some attributes within that table tag. In this case, we can say, what do we want our width of our table to be? You can set height. I prefer not to. It's actually not good practice to set height, but if you need to, you can. Whether or not you have a border. So maybe I said this has a border of 0. So let's take a look at our browser. Now that I've saved that, this is what it looked like with a border of 1. I hit refresh and it disappears. And I could add a border of 5. Let's see what that looks like. Whoa, that looks crazy. All right, doesn't look horrible, but again, there's better ways to stylize that. If you had to, though, you know that those options are in here. Now, it only works with whole numbers, so if I said 5.5, oops, try that again, 5.5, you're not going to see any difference in there. So it only works with whole numbers. So I'm going to say border of 0. Or actually, if I remove border, it should do 0 by default, I believe. So let's go ahead and hit save and refresh, and yes. Okay, so no border attribute actually just does 0 by default. I could still go in and change my width. I could still say 600 pixels. And you should see it kind of expand a little bit there. Let's go ahead and add our border back in just so we can see the structure of it as things change. Border equals, whoops, 1. All right. So after that, we define what the table body is. That's what T-body is. And you can see we've got our hamburger right there where it closes out. And the next thing that we have is a TR. Now that stands for table row. Put a little separation in there. So that is the row, the horizontal row that goes across here. So we define that there is a row. And within there, there is a TD. That stands for table data cell. So if I go ahead and save this and I hit refresh again to put my borders back on there, this is the table data cell. This is another table data cell. This and this make up the entire table row. So hopefully you understand the difference between those two. So what we have though is we have 2 table rows with different information in it. And you can see right here, we've got one table row that opens up, and we've got the table row that closes, another one that starts, another one that closes. So if I wanted to, I could actually copy this table row and create a new row. Now just because Dreamweaver opened up that little box that had me fill in the information does not mean that this is set for life and written in stone. This, I can just go ahead and continue adding as many table rows as I want here. And I can say email. And we'll go ahead and call out Bob again. bob@aol.com. Nice and short. I like it. Save it. I'm going to come back to my file here and hit refresh, and you can see the new row just popped up along the bottom there. So hopefully you see the benefits, and in future videos you will see the reasons not to use a table. But again, I still use tables sometimes. There is a place for them. You need to see what works for you. This is how they work. There are other attributes. Play with it a little bit more, but this is what you would be using for the most part.